morning. My name is Elizabeth Chimaza. I am your tutor for Applied Communication in Policing B. The subject code is POLD ACP11. This is an examination-based content class for 2022. Welcome to Applied Communication in Policing, Module 2 in particular. I am your tutor for Applied Communication and I will mark your assignment as well as the examination for this subject. I wish you all to be hardworking, dedicated and self-driven students in this course. This presentation will cover the examination questions. General guidelines on writing exams will be explained. I'm also going to take you through the subject overview and what I think is critical for you to know when it comes to this module. Module assessment policy. Continuous assessment per semester module consists of one assignment of 120 marks for modules of 10 credits. A 50% semester continuous assessment mark is required for admission to the examination. A 60% pass is required for practical assignment that will count for 50% of the continuous assessment mark. The duration of the examination of 10 credits is one written paper of 2.5 hours for 120 marks. A final pass mark of 50% is required, calculated by 60% of the examination mark and 40% of the continuous assessment mark. A sub-minimum of 50% must be attained in the examination. The setting and marking of examination papers are moderated. Module requirement. The attendance of all contact training opportunities that are organized by IOL is compulsory. Acquire the study guide and all relevant prescribed material and recommended website information. All assignment must be handed in on time. Students with special circumstances struggling to meet deadline should contact IOL in time. All forms of academic dishonesty, such as cheating and plagiarism, are prohibited. Cheating is considered as maybe you taking someone's assignment and copying it and make it your own, or simply copying the study guide word for word, copying and pasting it into your own assignment without acknowledging that this is not your work. That is called plagiarism, and you can be penalized for it. You are encouraged to manage your study time well and engaged in learning circles. Focus on understanding, asking what, why, and how questions before memorizing content. Admission to examinations depends upon successful attainment of the required continuous assessment mark. Exit learning outcomes. After studying this module, you will be able to apply various theoretical approaches and concept to organization communication. Use language of communication theory in speaking and writing. Write clearly and effectively about human communication on paper and electronically. Formulate own perspectives on communication theories. Subject overview. Unit 1. Essentials of corporate communication. In Unit 1, we are going to look at the importance of communication in the law enforcement. Why is communication important in law enforcement? Define the communication and corporate communication. Define communication and define corporate communication. Types of corporate communication channels or networks. You are also going to look at the types of corporate communication channels or network. We will look at types of corporate communications. We will look at the function of corporate communication in the police force corporate communication strategic framework. Importance of corporate communication. Guidelines for effective corporate communication. 3 critical skills police officers need to collaborate with community stakeholders. 7 C's of communication to Seven C's of communication to communicate effectively in the policing force. We are also going to look at the grapevine communication, that is informal communication. How you as a police officer, should you use grapevine information? Should you use informal communication when you are carrying out your day-to-day tasks? Unit 2, we are going to look at the models of communication. We have the Shannon and Weaver model of communication. We have the linear model of communication. We have the transactional model of communication. And we have the interactive model of communication. Okay, now you need to find one model of communication that you are going to master and know. Because you might be asked to explain any mode of communication that you've came across when you were studying. And all these 4 modules are there explained in your study guide. So pick one that you are going to understand and master it, so that when you find such a question, it will be easy for you to answer. Unit 3, different types of multimedia used in the police force. We said multimedia is a medium of communication. So we are now going to look at different types of multimedia used in the police force. You have to find the definition of multimedia and other components of multimedia, types of multimedia, visual communication. When you say visual communication, for example, posters, for example, adverbs with a lot of colors, a lot of shapes that are going to attract the eye. We are also going to look at the essentials of mass communication by the police force. There are 9 ways in which social media help the police force. So you need to know these 9 ways in which social media helps to the police, and you also need to know the advantages and disadvantages of multimedia. Making presentation. Definition of a presentation. 6 main purposes for presentations. 5 elements of a presentation. Preparation. How to organize presentation material. Writing your presentation. Sources of information for a presentation. What helps you to decide your presentation method. 8 ways to make presentation astounding. Answering questions during and after presentation. Basic tips for making presentation. And we'll also look at the advantages of public speaking. Unit 5, Essentials of Business Communication. When we are looking at essentials of business communication, we are looking at the channels of communication. We are looking at the types of business communication in the policing communication. What are the advantages of writing letters and what are the disadvantages of writing letters? We're looking at the objectives of corporate communication. We are also looking at the functions of corporate communication activities within business communication. Unit 6, approaches and theory of organizational communication. Approaches to organizational communication. Organizational communication, that is the preliminary perspective. We also look at the levels of communication in organization. We also look at the Lesiskas communication in the organizational context. We also look at barriers to organizational communication. And finally, the organizational theories. We are going to look at all these things in Unit 6. Unit 7, principles of letter, article, and report writing. Standard business letter format. We are going to look at the standard business letter format. We are going to look at the report writing format. And we are also going to look at the article writing. For how do you write an article? How do you write a speech? How do you write a report? And how do you write a business letter? Now let's quickly look at the examination questions. These examination questions are discussed as a summary of the assignment. They appear on the tutorial letter of 2022. Here are the questions as follows. Question 1. Essentials of corporate communication. Define corporate communication. Excellent corporate communication lies at the heart of the industry, commerce, and government abilities to build a democratic society, but this critical strategic role in organizational theory and practices rarely receives the outstanding commitment required for quality assurance in the organization's life today. So we need to, when you are defining corporate communication, you need to take that into consideration. Importance of communication in the law enforcement. Think of corporate communication as the voice of an organization. It speaks internally to employees as well as externally to suppliers, vendors, media, investors, and other stakeholders. It speaks when things are going well in the corporation and when there is a crisis. As with all good and effective communication, it must be clear, consistent, and controlled. There are many different aspects of corporate communication, and they can all affect, There are many different aspects of corporate communication, and they can all affect or contribute to the police force reputation. Question 2. Formal and informal communication. You need to know the definition of what is formal and what is informal communication. You need to list the advantages and disadvantages of formal and informal communication. You also need to define what is grapevine communication, because I already stated that grapevine communication is considered as informal communication. You also need to explain the characteristics of a grapevine communication. Okay. So if I take point 1, 2, 3, and 4, you can make them questions. You can formulate them to become questions. For example, you can say, define or what is formal and what is informal question. You already have a question there. You can also ask, what are the disadvantages and disadvantages of formal communication? So now go through the study guide, answering the question. Ask yourself questions and answer when you are going through the study guide. Question 3. Differentiate Okay, different types of multimedia. So you need to differentiate the different types of multimedia used in the police force. Number one, definition of multimedia and other components of multimedia. Definition of visual communication. Advantages and disadvantages of visual communication. Fields of mass communication used by the Namibian force. Because it's not all the mass communication that can be used by the Namibian force. For example, advertising, which field of advertising does the Namibian police force use? And broadcasting, which platform? Do they do radio? Do they do TV as part of broadcasting when they are using when it's the field of mass communication? Which one is best used by the Namibian police force? Question 4, principles of letter writing. Principles of letter writing, articles, and report writing. When it comes to letters, we have an application letter, we have a complaint letter, and we have a recommendation letter. So you might be asked to write an application letter or a complaint or a recommendation letter. So you need to know what information do you put in a recommendation letter, what information do you put in a complaint letter, and what information do you put in a application letter. And don't forget to write the correct structure. All these types of letters, they use the business letter format. So please be familiar with the business letter format. Instructions and information to candidates. Before that, maybe if I'm going to add on question 4, some types of writing, there's also report writing. Please follow the structure of the report writing. A report is complete when it has headings and subheadings. In assignments specifically, I will be marking it a bit strict because I expect you to open your study guide, go through the format of writing a report, writing a professional report. Familiarize yourself with all the headings and all the subheadings that should be included when you are writing a report. So I'm advising you that practice report writing so that when it comes to exam time, you already have the structure of the report in your head. Now look at the instructions and the information to candidates. What should you do when you are writing assignments? You need to provide sufficient answers, meaning do not write too little or too much. Also check the mark allocated to determine the length of your answer. Try by all means to use your own words and refer to your own experience. Make sure your statements, ideas make sense of what you intend to say. When it comes to providing sufficient answers, check your mark allocation. If the mark, you are asked to write an application letter and you are only going to be awarded 10 marks, don't waste time and paper writing a 2-page application letter when the mark is only 10 marks. And you are never going to find a report. You are asked to write a report and you are allocated 10 marks. Reports, you only get 20 or 25 marks. That is the mark allocation, because there are a lot of things that are considered when marking a report. For example, I've already explained to you that you need to include all the necessary headings and all the necessary subheadings when you are writing the report. So all those things, they are marked and they are allocated marks. That's why a report is always awarded 25 marks, because a lot of things are considered. So now when you are writing a report, you come and you just write a one-page report with no headings even. And some people, they even go on and put an address when they are writing a report. You only put an address when you are writing a letter, not when you are writing a report. I hope you understand me. Now, good luck with all the exams and in writing your assignments. Do not hesitate to contact me should you experience some challenges in your studies. My contact details are, email address is zabe.chim@yahoo.com, and my mobile number is 0817 356 991. You can contact me during office hours, Monday to Fridays, from 9 o'clock until 4 o'clock. And you can email me anytime. I will respond to you as soon as I can. Good luck and goodbye.